Alright, I got another video. Um, this one's actually really, really difficult to do. Because I've been debating about a few people's positions. So I guess we're gonna get started off here. You're gonna see some faces in here. Most of these are from the UTC because that's when I had the most second in commands. Some of these people weren't truly second in commands like Tech-It and Alpha, but I tried to make them second in commands. It just didn't really work. So with that, we're gonna start off with Alpha. He was very dedicated, but also hacked the whole time. He's really good at farming stuff, but he hacked the whole time, so I can't put him any higher than C tier. Tech-It. Yeah, I don't think words need to be said. I love you, Tech-It, but holy shit, you got to the point of being inheritor, and then you just didn't do anything with it, and then you tried to like Jew your way back into still being in power, and I'm like, you can't do that. All right. We'll save some of the big names for the end. We'll go through some less important people. Sorry, you're rebuffed, but solid B tier. Um, second in command in the 234th. I mean, Alice was around, but we'll get to that. And rebuffed, pretty good at leading companies, which is like a 8 to 10 man group. He wasn't the best at it, but he could do it, and it would be done all right. It wouldn't be done the best, but it wouldn't be like terrible. You knew what you were gonna get with rebuffed, and he did what he said he would do, and you knew his talents, and he wasn't going to get much better than that, but pretty damn alright. Now we're going to go to Caden. I have to put Caden in A tier. Now there is a significant difference between second in command and leader tier list. I will have a leader tier list. It'll be a separate video. Different people's positions will be... Different people have very different positions. Caden, very solid right hand. You know what you're going to get from him. The only reason Caden actually isn't an S tier is because Caden's an asshole to people. But holy shit, Caden sticks to his guns. He's good at PvP. He farms things. He'll move shit for you. He comes up with new ideas that are good, like transport depths all across the map. That was Caden's idea, not mine. So, you know, he was pretty good second in command. Let's see, who else is in here? There are names that I want to save for the end. I guess we're going to go to Chiagi. I'm going to put Chiagi in D tier. Now, you guys probably don't even know who Chiagi is. He was my second in command after Alice went to go lead the 93rd after me and her broke up. He was in second command while Alice was in charge of the 234. It was a co-leader of the 234th. Their leader was above co-leader, and Chiagi was also a co-leader, but basically Chiagi stepped on board shortly after Rebuff left, and Chiagi would come to drills. Chiagi is actually really, really good at teaching in drills. The only reason I don't have him any higher than D tier is because the only thing he ever did was teach anything in drills. All he did. He's a drills guy. He came up with tank test actually. Before that, we used to power tool lightning to like a stick and then just strike somebody with lightning until they died. But Chiagi wound up leaving me he left the regiment, the 234th, to go be in Alice, to go be with Alice in the 93rd because he was cucked by Alice. He also left with Alice. Basically, this man got cucked by Alice. Like, I could appreciate Rebuff getting cucked by a Dawn Brigade E-Girl and leaving because of that. But this man literally got cucked by my ex and left my regiment like 2 days after me and Alice broke up. I guess that's a good segue to Furch. Furch, second in command. Okay, it was really hard. I've been debating this quite a bit, but I think Furch is going to be S tier. Now, you're going to be like, of course Furch is S tier. But let me get this very straight. When Furch started off being my second in command, it was because I needed a second command, didn't have one. Chiagi left, and Furch stepped into that role. But Furch was dog shit at it for like a month and a half. Furch was completely ass, didn't know what he was doing. Furch was also bad at the game at the time. It wasn't until like June, July where Furch actually started to learn how to PvP. I remember on Furch's first Hassa raid, 4 of us crossed Longbridge. We ran into 6 people from Corsair, and then we turned around and ran back to Longbridge, and Furch got caught out and died. So, how does Furch make it into S tier? Well, by the time it was June or July and Furch was actually being pretty damn good at his job, Furch was the hands down the best at leading after myself I have seen in this game. I think Whoopi or Joe would probably come in a close third. Maybe Jam in there too. I don't really know how Whoopi and Joe in their prime stack up against Jam in his prime. There's just so much time in between. I really can't rate those three in comparison to one another or to other people. But First stands out above the crowd, above the rest. Hands down, super good at leading in PvP. First could also lead in dungeons. He knew Pollister like the back of his hand. I don't actually know if First knew how to do any other dungeon but Pollister. But a staple dungeon for me in every clan I was ever in was running Pollister Shrine. That was our thing. We ran it in the 234th, 501st, we ran it in TB, we ran it in 10. That was the shit. Alright. Now I've danced around the subject quite a bit, but Alice. You're going to be like, Alice is probably F tier, right? I'm going to be like, yeah, Alice is an F tier. Now, Alice didn't know how to play the game. She should have never been in charge. Why was she a co-leader? Well, this comes back to Jam. And Alice joined our regiment because she was being sexually harassed by somebody else in the UTC and the other regiment she was in. Because at first, me and Jam didn't want her in a regiment with us because for one, she was bad. And then for two, I was like, I don't want to be in the same regiment as my girlfriend. That'd be really awkward if I had to be like in charge of her. And like, I don't want to have relationship problems. Spoiler alert, it caused relationship problems when she joined. But she joined, she's around for a bit, and then something happened, and then Jam was like, wow, Alice is super competent, I love her. He's like, we should promote her to co-leader. And I'm like, are you sure about this, Jam? And I shit you not, Jam says yes. And me and Jam, we haven't talked about it recently, but it used to be like a thing where Jam would be like, don't bring it up, Cyclone, I don't want to talk about it, because Jam regrets that decision. Now, another fun side story about Alice. So it's January 2017. Alice is at my house because for her living situation, she didn't have internet during the winter months. And she was at my house. I was home from college. She had her laptop. We're doing drills. I'm in my bedroom with my gaming setup. There's basically my... Here, I'm going to load up paint. What to do? This is such a sidetrack. So, like, my room's like this, and there's like it's like a wall like this. And basically my room is... like, this is my bedroom. And then there's a hallway here. There's a desk here. This is in the hallway. That's where Alice is. And I'm right here. Okay? So me and Alice are pretty much next to each other. There's a door where that little gap is. And we do a round of drills. And then the UTC's drill server shit itself. And everybody on the other team thought I was flying at one point. And I wasn't flying. They're like, you're fly hacking. And I was like, it literally wasn't. I was in GM2 the whole time. /fly was disabled. I tried the /fly afterwards, and then it enabled it, so /fly wasn't on. Then Alice was like, no, we all think you're hacking. She's like, you're literally hacking. And I'm like, look at my game. I'm like, get on my computer. I'm like, I launched with Optifine. That's all I've ever played with. And me and her, deadass had a fight in the middle of drills for like 15 minutes. I had to cancel drills, and then I had to take her home. And I was like, that was the most autistic shit. She said I was hacking when she could see she like walked around and like looked at my computer. That was the dumbest shit. Oh, that still makes me mad to this day. Other UTC people. Alright. I've been purposely avoiding Joe. We'll get back to him in a sec. So Bertato, C tier. Not very good at leading PvP or events or being consistent, but he was good at leading dungeons and good morale boost. Also very good at keeping e-girls from instantly leaving the UTC, which was honestly a huge problem in the UTC because most of the e-girls would just insta leave, and Bertato had some charm, so he could get them to stay. So put him in like the lower to mid end of C tier. I would say Alpha's definitely above Bertato though. Alright, now to some big names. Jam, A tier. Be like, really? A tier? Didn't you have problems with Jam in the UTC? I did have problems with Jam in the UTC. But that's not why Jam's an A tier. Jam's an A tier because when Jam came back to TB, Jam worked his way up with Caden, and Jam was like the right hand of my right hand. Like, Caden was like my go-to guy, but as Caden became inactive, Jam took up that spot. And then, after I left, Jam was the guy to hold my mantle of my spot on the Elder Council, of pretty much being just like anti-Joe. Joe needed somebody to balance him out. I think Tiff can see that there's nobody to balance him out. It's like literally Joseph Stalin running Trotsky out of Tiff when Whoopi got kicked. But anyways, Jam, pretty good, solid 2 IC. He made his way through 10. In 10, Jam pretty much didn't do anything other than maybe there's like the month of March, Jam was around. If I geared up an account for Jam and he was around, he would come to other events. He came to a couple Frostbane runs over the summer. I think that was pretty much it for that, though. Now, Jay, I hate to do this to you, Jay. I'm actually really not sure. I'm gonna put Jay in C tier. I almost put him in D. But I'm gonna get this very straight. Jay, as a second in command, gives the worst advice anybody could ever get on the planet. Jay's a great guy, but he's too damn nice for this game. He would always want to do the right thing from his point of view, morally or whatever, but that was usually not what was best for the clan. Decisions include wanting to let Rinjani in. That's the big one that comes to mind. Also, Jay was very, Jay, no offense, Jay, I'm shitting on you right now. I love you, man. I will give you some praise in a second. But Jay also is not very cognizant of the situation around him. I don't want to leak anything, but basically there's multiple situations where Jay was like, we were like, Jay, don't do this, and Jay took the lazy way out. I guess cognizant isn't the right word, but Jay would be not very proactive in certain situations, and that caused a lot of hurt for him and the clan at other points in time. So, C tier for Jay. Soul. I'm sorry, Soul. You're in D tier. You left a month into your training. You also left at other points when I was trying to groom you to take over. What the fuck? Also, you kind of had like a Tizzy breakdown with the spy shit, which I mean I understand to a degree, but like you went from one spy to the other spy because you didn't like one spy, but then you nuked them both, and it was very sudden. I knew you wanted to do it eventually, but like kind of skimmed through it. Your leadership skills were all right, but you kind of rubbed people the wrong way sometimes. I mean, maybe that's fine in bros now, but in 10, there was just people you rubbed the wrong way, and you're just kind of weird. Like you were too much of a role player for the role players. Remember your role play event? All right, I think that's enough. I think you know what I'm talking about. Whoopi, Whoopi goes in B tier. Why is Whoopi B tier? I thought Whoopi's a good leader. He's a damn fine leader. He's a shit second in command. Whoopi gives you good advice, but Whoopi also doesn't support you with everything you want to do. When you're looking for your second in command to give you advice on how to do what you want to do, sometimes Whoopi is like, I don't want to do that. We're not doing that. And you're like, he puts up a roadblock, and you're like, no, we don't need this. I want to go from point A to point B. I want to burn down 3 villages along the way, and Whoopi's standing there on a fire truck, putting out the fucking fires. And you're like, what the hell, Whoopi? I'm trying to burn down the village. Whoopi's like, we can't burn down Dawn Brigade for 7 times. Cyclone, we've already burned them down 6 times. You have to let them regrow. Whoopi taught me, grow the crops. That's a meme. Now, Joe. Probably thinking, where does Joe fall in all of this? Now, I debated putting Joe in S tier for a while, and I just couldn't do it, man. Joe's got to go A tier, 100% A tier. I'm saying mid A tier, not upper end of A tier, but definitely a solid mid A tier. Why is this? Joe was my second in command, groomed him to take over groups for me. I groomed him in the UTC to be solid. Furch was a second in command. Furch is always going to be a second in command. Furch is not a leader. I tried to make Joe into a leader to be there in my absence when I needed to take a break. You need to have somebody that can do that for you, because in this game you are eventually going to need a break. If you don't have that person, your clan ain't going to last. Unless you're Irish or Mayfought. I don't know anybody who's stuck around for like literal years, and even Mayfaught's clan eventually died. So, pretty much we trained Joe to do this. That's what Joe's role was in the UTC. There was Furch, who was second in command, and then there was Joe, who was grooming to be a leader. I guess more of a leader than a second in command, but I was my dependable. And then when I went inactive in the 501st, Joe, for his events, slept through them. Joe slept through his own events when I needed him to take over things for 6 weeks for me, and he slept through his events. There's 2 events he slept through in that time period, and I covered the first one. The second one I couldn't cover. You're like, oh, that doesn't necessarily make him a bad second in command. There were some run-ins in TB where Joe no offense, Flippy, I think Joe was more influential in TB than you were, and Joe caused a lot of internal issues for some dumb shit that I will not get into. Joe's very, very competent at what he does, but it's just he's not always super reliable, and that was slightly problematic. And then him just not being able to deal with people in the best of manners at times. Like there's a lot of people, most people he gets along fine with. Joe doesn't like to see other people being successful or being competent in the position that he's in. Views them as a threat and then goes after them. I guess that's the nicest way I can put it. So for that reason, I'm putting Joe in 8th here. Now, this is probably like a 15 or 16 minute long video for like 15 people, not even. I think it's actually like 13. So let me know what you guys think. I'll probably do one of these for a leaders tier list because it actually wasn't too bad to set this up. I don't remember why it was so bad for the PvP tier list, but I guess I knew everybody's IGN, so this is a hell of a lot easier. So yeah, if you guys want to make your own version of this tier list, you can if you type the link in at the top. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Wouldn't make shit for sense for you. But I'll see you guys later. Take care. Goodbye.